Have you ever felt like shame and guilt, like literally for just breathing or just existing? And today's talk is kind of off the cuff right now, but it's kind of what's on my mind. Have you pulled your hair out in frustration and overwhelm? Have you felt triggered to cry and you're like, where is this coming from? Yeah, I've been there too. So what is that, right? What is that shame and guilt and this intense emotion? It can be several things, and I want to go into the three things that it can be right now. Okay, my name is Rebecca Abraxas. Thanks for coming to this site where we're remembering our greatness and we're raising our vibration and learning how to sustain it. So if you want a free gift about what your own voice is telling you about all this, go to my website. There's a free quiz to take there. Let's jump in. Number one, shame and guilt, childhood trauma. Okay, I'm a daughter of an alcoholic. My father has passed, but I'm noticing as the years go on, the insidiousness of alcoholism and being raised by an alcoholic that I never really knew about. And I'm finding that all this out more and more as I get older. The codependency, this tendency to want to go and save and rescue, this ability to hold shame and guilt for like no freaking reason. So childhood trauma and being an adult daughter or child of an alcoholic can bring on these feelings of shame and guilt over just existing. It's very interesting. So something to take a look at. And number two is the energy of someone else's experience that you're holding. Okay. Perhaps you are holding it for a lineage, right? Are you a lineage holder for this shame and guilt, for this trauma? We are recently looking into something called, what is it called? Family constellations. And they really go into how, like, the nuclear family can be placeholders for trauma that's happened, like, throughout the whole lineage. So we're taking a look at that. Are you a holder for some of that trauma? And number three, are you holding empathically energy for just the collective? Are you holding shame and guilt? Are you holding overwhelm? Are you holding emotions for your neighborhood, for just the collective at large, for your children, for your husband? Are like these energies even yours? So these are three things we're going to talk about today. Is one, the childhood trauma, holding intense things for your lineage, and number three, just empathically holding energy. All right, and it could come out looking pretty intense. And what if it could go away without years of talk therapy? So all of these three things have something in common. All of these roots are vibration. Everything is a vibration. Would you be willing to take a look at your life as just a series of vibrations? So this is kind of like a new paradigm. So as we step out of the 3D collective and step into some higher frequencies, higher dimensions, as we start creating the 5D reality here on planet Earth, one of the things that's kind of required is that we start seeing things from a different lens. We start seeing things with a different perspective and live from a different paradigm. And that means seeing everything as what it is, just a frequency, a rate of vibration. It's moving like this, right? So guilt, shame, emotions, overwhelm, grief, sadness, it all has a frequency. It all has a rate of vibration. So some's going slower than others. But whatever it is, if a childhood trauma comes up, it's coming up to be seen and heard and to be moved, to move it, right? I have done a lot of work on myself. I have done like years of therapy. I've done years of energy work, years of spirituality work, years of personal growth, years of law of attraction work, years of Reiki, years of access consciousness, years and years of yoga. And what I have found is that when I unhook from the trauma story, when I unhook from the form and structure and just work with it as a frequency, as a rate of vibration, I get through it quicker. And yes, is there an echo that can come through back? Yes. Okay. That could be an electromagnetic residual energy. It could just be something that's coming through the ether, like a lineage, or like I said, empathically feeling the energies of the day. But when you're really working with childhood trauma, and you really are noticing that it's really up for you, I would recommend unhooking from the story and seeing it just as a rate of frequency, a rate of vibration, a frequency. And this is the reason why. Um, so many times I've been seeing a childhood trauma come up and not exactly knowing it was childhood trauma, and practitioners getting me to really process through talking about it and through the nuts and bolts of the stories, and then it re-traumatized me, and my whole body would get shaking, and there would be this trauma response. Now some would say, yes, go through it, feel it, and release it. But what I've noticed is when you re-traumatize it, it actually sits back in the body. It's re-traumatizes, and the vibration goes back into the body. So when it starts to come up and you're feeling emotions move, that's when I would get to it. And I would take the form and structure and the story out of it, and I would just see it as an energy. And then from there, I have found the fastest way to work with childhood trauma like this is match the vibration. So let your own voice be the vibration of the childhood trauma, and just start toning and shifting it and raising the energy of it. And now sometimes we're not comfortable using our own voice, and you can use someone else's voice. So right now I'm offering a program where I do custom sound healing. So we do an assessment, an energy assessment, and an energy alignment session. And I find out what frequencies you're shifting and working with. And then I make a custom sound healing with my voice for you to listen to help you move that energy. So whether you do it with your own voice or get like a custom sound healing to work with the energies that are up for you, whichever way, it's really, really potent. I have found sound healing to be super potent with voice work. And it really just helps that childhood trauma energy to shift and move and raise its frequency and start getting it out of the body just by moving it, right? Same thing with the number 2, like the lineage work. Are you a holder? Okay, so it just goes a little deeper, right? So there's childhood trauma, that's your own, but then there's lineage trauma. Okay, and so you're just kind of a pawn in this bigger picture, and you're a holder of certain energies of that bigger constellation. So when you work with family constellations, you start to see like who's playing what part. Like if you think about it as a chess game, who's the pawn, who's the knight, who's the queen, who's the whatever, I forget all the pieces, the horse, whatever that one is. Everyone's playing their piece on the board. Everyone's a piece in the constellation. And you could be holding energy for a grandfather's trauma that he never healed. So this is why it's so important to start shifting your childhood trauma, so you don't pass it down and pass it through lineages for them to have to hold. And so our family right now, I'm just noticing that we're holding a lot for our lineage on both sides, paternal and maternal. And so we're doing this work, and we're going to start healing childhood trauma of past generations that we're holding in our family. And it's brilliant work. But you can also do this with the voice as well. So once you have the perspective of what trauma is being held by us, we get to match it with our voice, and we get to move the frequency back up, raise it up. And so number 3 is, are you holding an energy for the collective? So for example, last year, a classmate of mine passed, and I found out on Facebook, and I started tuning in to all my classmates who were closer to this person, and I started courting them, not even like consciously. I started courting them, feeling their grief. And this is a woman that I hadn't seen in 25 years. Okay. She wasn't a super close friend of mine, but by the end of the day, I was pummeled in grief to the point where I was almost in a state of depression where I really wasn't motivated to do anything. And I got the awareness that this wasn't mine. As I was sad for this woman and her family. She had 3 little boys. I was sad, but the level of grief didn't really match. And I noticed that, oh, I had to cut the cords from the heavy grief that I was picking up from her closer community. And it was almost instantaneous. As soon as I cut the cord and made the awareness link, I cut the cord, went release, and I was like, woo! Became so much lighter, and everything felt so much better. So that's an instance where I was aware of the story. I was aware of the cording, and I just unhooked. I just cut it and let it go. And I didn't even use my voice then. I just cut the cord, and woo, there it went. So if it's kind of fresh and that cord is just really new that day, it can go away really quickly. But if it's linked to childhood trauma or lineage trauma, that may need a little bit more presence. But the voice work does move it pretty quickly. So these 3 things can make us feel shame, deep grief, guilt. And we may be like, what am I guilty about? Why do I feel such shame? When you don't know, most likely it's something from way back in your childhood, way back in your lineage, or something that you courted to recently with the collective that's not even yours, and you can just release it and cut it. And so, I just want to say this because as we go through the holidays right now, it's almost December 2021, and things start to percolate, right? Get triggered during holiday seasons. And there's lots of reasons for that. So as we head into the holiday seasons, or whatever season it is, just have compassion for what we're feeling, and be present with what we're feeling. And what I've noticed with big feelings is that if you're willing to be really present with it, it doesn't have to take long to work through it, especially if you're using the tool of the voice, because the vibration matches the vibration, and it can go pretty quickly. So I have a new program that I'm offering. I launched it on Black Friday, and it'll be on my website now, because it's just been my awareness that this is a beautiful way for me to work in what I offer. So it's called Align, and the program consists of a energy alignment session, and then I custom make you a 30-minute sound healing, vocal sound healing, that you listen to for 30 days to reprogram your vibration, your set point vibration. And then we meet again for 30 minutes to integrate and share how your month was, where you are vibrationally. That is happening right now on my website. The link is in the descriptions. Right now, if you get it by December 1st, you get 30% off. So go find that. If what I'm saying today is like, oh my gosh, yes, oh my gosh, I've experienced that, yes, oh my gosh, yes, 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 then this program will really serve you, be of service to you. Go find it, get the 30% off before it's full price. So beautiful being. You don't have to suffer in shame and guilt anymore. That's awful. Childhood trauma really can do a number on us, and lineage trauma. Is the time now to live something different, to stop the suffering, stop the shame, stop the guilt. Right? I really feel like my program can contribute to you. So Go check the details out on that, or just keep watching. I have tons of free content on this channel that can help you through a lot of what I've just talked about as well. All right, beautiful being, thanks for tuning in. Let me know in the comments if this was helpful for you. Which one were you most aligned with, 1, 2, or 3? Namaste.